So although I want to teach about these skin calipers, what I use is bioelectrical impedance. So what's bioelectrical impedance? Let's clear all this stuff. I have my guys in the gym. I used to use calipers, but they're not very accurate because I have these little plastic calipers that just are not accurate. So what you have is I have this scale now, and my athletes will stand on the scale, and on the scale is a little dial. It tells you all your information, but it has these two little metal strips on the scale. They just got to stand above these metal strips. And what the metal strips do is they send a little electrical impulse out of the metal strip, and it travels up one leg, and it probably just travels down the other leg back into the other metal strip. And remember that muscle has much more water in it than fat. Muscle is about 70% water. Fat's about 30%. And remember, water conducts electricity, right? If you're in a puddle and there's a down electrical line and you're standing in the puddle, right? The water is going to conduct the electricity, right? You don't want this situation. You're going to get electrocuted. Water conducts electricity. If muscle is mostly water, then muscle conducts electricity. And we all know that muscle does conduct electricity because it conducts the action potential, right? Action potential is an electrical impulse from the brain to the muscle. And fat is only 30% water. We all know that fat does not conduct electricity. So the bioelectrical impedance, the concept behind bioelectrical impedance is if your body has less fat, then the strength of the electrical signal as it exits these metal, these just metal pieces, I don't know what to call them, whatever. As the metal leaves, it's going to have a particular strength to it. Then if the body has more fat, it will attenuate or it will impede. Bioelectrical impedance, impede. It will stop or thwart the strength of the signal. So the signal will come up through the leg, it will encounter an amount of fat or muscle, and it will slow down a particular amount or reduce a particular amount by the time it gets to the other metal node. And that's how this scale measures how much muscle versus fat and bone my body has. So not only do I get my height and weight, actually, I keep making that mistake. I don't get height. I can just measure height, but I get weight. I get body mass index. Well, what is body mass index? Body mass index is the ratio of your height. So I don't know how it calculates, divided by your weight squared. It's height in centimeters. Actually, might even be meters and kilograms. So you're going to have to be able to calculate or to go between pounds and kilograms. It's actually meters, not centimeters, meters, I'm pretty sure. Meters divided by kilograms squared. Now, my scale doesn't measure meters and height. Actually, it does. There's a little button right here, now that I think about it. And they're able to change variables here. There's a button there. And then there's two other buttons for increase and decrease. So you can set some variables, and I'm mistaking. It does actually allow you to set your height and your weight. So it gives you body mass index. The problem with body mass index is that this weight doesn't determine whether or not the weight is mostly muscle or mostly fat. It just gives a weight. So if I type in 200 pounds here, it's 200. It doesn't tell me whether or not that 200 is mostly muscle or mostly fat. So if I had a 200-pound individual who's completely and totally obese, and a 200-pound individual step on the scale who is not obese, their body mass index would be the exact same. The only thing that would be different is their percent body fat or their body composition. So you got to be careful with body mass index because it can't determine body composition. It's only an indicator of potential obesity, but not percent body composition. So not only does it tell me body mass index, but it'll tell me the percent of water that the individual is drinking. It will give me an assessment of their bone mineral density. So, and it'll tell me their body composition. This is done within seconds of them getting on the scale. So why would I do anything aside from that? Why would I take out the calipers and lift up their shirt? I'm in a gym with young kids. I don't want to do that. It takes too much time. Nobody wants to get pinched with these calipers. So like maybe 15 years ago when I didn't have these scales, I would be forced to teach you your body composition with skin calipers. But these days I wouldn't do it anymore. I would just tell you to go buy a scale, put it in a duffel bag, and bring it with you when you go to your clients. So you always have the opportunity to tell them what their weight is, what their body mass index, and more than just skin calipers. And in the lab, we don't even have the skin calipers that we need to do the job. So I really couldn't do what it is that I wanted to do. So my suggestion is rather than doing skin calipers, use bioelectrical impedance and go get yourself a $30 scale and bring it to each of your clients. It's much faster and they'll respond to it, I think, much better. Does anybody have any questions? That being said, what I'd like to do is try to show you how to do your skin calipers and how to do body composition for males and females separately, and show you the sites for your skin calipers and explain how to do it. So for each of the males and females, there's 3 different sites that you're going to use. One of them is the same for both. So I'll explain that first. And then I'll explain where the other sites are. So number 1 site is the thigh for the males and females. So I'll try to explain where you do the measuring and how you actually do the skin caliper assessment. So if you look at the kneecap, all right, it's attached to the quadricep tendon. Quadricep tendon is attached to your vastus lateralis quad muscle and your vastus medialis quad muscle. All right, and then, so let me, I'm going to erase this actually. Not clear all drawings, erase this. This will be easier so you can see it this way. Femur, kneecap, tibia, quadricep. Patellar tendon. And I'm going to have to draw further up, I guess, too. Just try to make it as best as I can. All right, femur. Femoral neck. Femoral head. I'm going to do a little bit even more accurate here. My bad. Don't be upset. The better I do it, the better it's going to be. Let's erase this, give me some more room. It's actually going to be more like this. A little bit of an angle to it here. Now, acetabulum, ischium, iliac crest, xiphoid process and sacrum, vertebrae, all right, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then iliac crest on the other side. It's always hard for me to do this. This side's not as important. All right. So now you could also imagine here that this stuff is all covered with skin. So the skin's going to come here. And I'm going to erase the vertebrae up there. I'm going to erase this too. I'm going to put a belly button. And then we'll draw, I guess, the up here later on. But you're going to have for the guys, you're going to have your pectoralis. So this is your stomach muscles here. And then you're going to have your pecs. All right, so these are pretty much the main players here. So we have to start with the thigh, because for the males and the females, the thigh is the first site. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the ASIS, the anterior superior iliac spine. The ASIS. The ASIS is right here. It's this bone, and it's right in the front of your body. You can palpate it. It's this, if you put your finger or your hand on the front of your, I guess, like your belly, to the left or the right, you'll feel a bone protruding out. That's your anterior superior iliac spine. And you're going to also palpate all the way to the middle of your kneecap, right here. And you're going to draw a line between the two, right there. And then you're going to measure on your thigh halfway between those 2 points. And that's where you're going to take your first measurement. So let's even go like this. Something that stands out. I don't know, blue, maybe blue. So you're going to go halfway between your ASIS, which is here, and the midpoint of your kneecap. And you're going to measure right at that junction right here, right at that X, right at the middle point. So that's the first site. Halfway between the ASIS, halfway between the ASIS, anterior superior iliac spine, and the patellar. Now you got to measure. Take out a, either like, what is it? Like a measuring tape. Take out a measuring tape and measure it. Make a mark. All right. Usually what you'll do is you'll take the measuring tape out. You'll put the measuring tape on the ASIS. You'll measure all the way between the ASIS. Obviously, I don't need to draw measuring tape. Everybody knows. Then what they'll tell you is they'll tell you to, at the mark of the skin, they'll tell you to make like an X, a vertical. The vertical line is longer than the horizontal line, like this. So this is right at the point, right at the midpoint. All right, that's right here. Make a longer vertical and a shorter mark for horizontal. Now, once you've made the mark, how am I going to explain this? Once you've made the mark, all right. Once you've made the mark, I want to erase a bunch of this stuff. Okay, I'm going to erase this part here. We'll talk about the males first, and that gives me a little bit of room over here. So what is the mark for? Right? You have the measuring tape. You go to the ASIS and measure halfway between the ASIS and the midpoint of the patellar, and you have your site and you make this mark here. So why do you make that mark? Well, let's make the mark a little bit bigger over here. What you're going to do is you're going to put the calipers here. So if you had these calipers, usually they look like this. They're going to have like this hook at the top, and then the body of the caliper here. And the caliper is, let me just kind of imagine it in my brain. And then there's going to be there's a hook. And then you have the main part of the caliper here, and then you have the handle. And then under here, you have this little piece that goes like this. And then at the bottom, is it at the bottom? Let me just think. Anyway, there's another little piece for your thumb and yep, it's a little lever here, and the lever is for your thumb. So you hold on here, hold on with your hand, your fingers go around here, and your thumb wraps around and holds on to this little lever here. And the lever closes and opens. What the lever does is it makes this piece here move in and out. So when I press down on this lever, this little piece moves in and out. So that piece eventually will look like this. And it will open here if I press down. And when I let go of this little piece, this little lever here, the calipers close this way on the skin. So I can either open or close the calipers. All right. Now, the ones that we have these are like the most expensive. And then over here is a little meter. right? And that meter will tell me how many millimeters this pinch is, or how much space is between these two, the heads of the calipers. How much space is there? That's on this meter here. So what you do is you take these pieces right here, the ends of the calipers, these things here, they go right here. So one of them goes here and the other goes here. And what you do is you take your fingers of your other hand. This is always your right hand is holding on to the calipers. Your left hand, your thumb. Oh, dude, I'm gonna erase that. Oh, geez, not erase that. Your thumb is going to, let's just make a circle instead of that line. Your thumb is going to go here, and your index finger is going to go here. So you're pinching above the caliper. All right, this is the skin. You're going to grab the skin, here. You're literally pinching the skin at the thigh here. You're going to grab with your index finger and your thumb. The caliper is being held now against the mound of skin that's pulled out. The skin is going to be, it's going to be here. You're going to have pulled the skin away from the bone. And this is going to be like the edge of the skin. Right? You're going to have a little shadow here on this side. Right? But you're pulling the skin away from the bone. Your index finger and your thumb are pulling it out now 1 centimeter. You pull out 1 centimeter. So you're going to grasp the skin at the thigh and you're going to pull towards you. Pull the skin out 1 centimeter. You're going to place the calipers on the fold of skin right at the crosshatch, right there. You're going to wait for 1 second. After the calipers are on the skin, they're going to kind of sink into the skin a little bit because there's a force pushing into the skin. So you wait for 1 second so that it's called creep occurs. And then you're going to take your measurement using this particular meter. And it will tell you how many millimeters, like maybe it's 12 millimeters. And then what you do is you remove the calipers. Now, you don't want to remove the calipers by just sliding them off the skin, because then they could scrape the skin. So you always want to depress the lever. The calipers will open up, and then remove it from the skin very, very gently and carefully. Halfway between the ASIS and the patella. Make your mark. Long vertical, short horizontal. Grasp the skin with your thumb and your index finger above the hash mark. Pull the skin out 1 centimeter. Wait 1 second and take your measurement. Now for the males, there are 3 sites. So the first one is the thigh. Then you would go to the next measurement site, do that measurement, go to the next measurement site, do that measurement, and then repeat that cycle 3 times. And take the average of the lowest 2 values. So if I got 12 millimeters, 15 millimeters, and 14 millimeters, I would get rid of the 15, average of the 12 and the 14. And my value for that site is 13 millimeters. Now you're going to go to the next site. I'll show you where that is, and the last site. And you would get 3 different values, 13 here, 18, and the next site, blah, 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 millimeters, and maybe 12 in the last site. You would add those together, 43. And you're not done. You take this number 43 and then a bunch of other different numbers and plug them into these really long equations that gives you your body composition. I'm not going to go through those equations. I'm just going to show you the sites today. But that's pretty much how you do body composition. The equations are difficult. Stepping on the scale is much easier than doing all of this. So that's what I suggest. Does anybody have any experience doing body composition at all? And if you do, can you relate to what I'm saying? Is this a reasonable explanation of what's going on? Can somebody give me confirmation that this is all right or not? Is this reasonable? Maybe I can just give a thumbs up if this is reasonable. Hold on, I'm not even looking at you guys. Thumbs up, is this reasonable? Anything? Oh man, Christopher's laying down. I wished I was laying down. Christopher, thumbs up. You don't have to get up. You don't have to get up. You don't have to get up, my dude. That's the beauty of what we're doing, buddy. It's okay. Christopher, can you give me a thumbs up if you know what I'm talking about, though? Is this reasonable? All right, thumbs up. All right, so let's go back. I just want it to be like, I don't know if it's carrying over well on this medium, but I think it's doing all right. All right, so the first site for males is the thigh, halfway between the ASIS and the patellar. Make your mark, thumb, index finger, pull out 1 centimeter, count 1 second later, right? All right, so the next site for the males, let's erase this stuff. Let's erase this stuff here. So the first site for the males is the thigh. The next site for the males is the abdomen. And where you're going to measure that is at the belly button. So maybe what I could do is I'll just blow this part of the picture up a little bit and just pull it down here. So here's your side, here's your other side over here, and here's your belly button. So what you're going to do is you're going to go over to the anatomical left side or the right side of the body, left side to you, but the anatomical right side of the body. All of your calipers are going to be on the right side of the body, all of them. So anatomical right. So the person's right side, every side, all the time on the right side of the body. And the reason for that is because you want to make sure that your measurements are valid, reliable, and objective. And maybe I'll go over the terms in a second. we want to make sure we're doing the right measurement for skin calipers. Now, I mean, for body composition, this is an approved and valid test because they've taken a look at the results of skin calipers and compared it to hydrostatic weighing, and it's reasonably consistent. So that's a valid assessment. Reliability means if I do this assessment over and over and over and use the same technique on the same subject over and over and over, I should get the same results over and over and over. And if this assessment is written correctly and the technique is followed by multiple people and they use the same person, then they should be getting the same results. So objectivity is when multiple test takers get the same results. Reliability is when one test taker gets the same results over and over. So you use the right side always. You always pull out 1 centimeter. You always count 1 second. You always measure so that we improve the reliability and the objectivity of our assessment. So with the males, you're going to go over this direction 3 centimeters. And it's right in the middle of the belly button. And what you're going to do is you're going to make your hash mark there. So it's going to kind of look like this, where you have your vertical line here, which is always longer than your horizontal line. 3 centimeters over. This line here is 1 centimeter above. I just put it right at the middle of the navel though. So it's 3 centimeters over is good enough. The reason you want to go 3 centimeters over is so that you don't put this part of the hook here, this part here in the belly button. That would be weird. So you don't want to do that. So instead of doing that, you go 3 centimeters over. And then again, thumb, index finger. This is always held with the right hand, always. So this hand here is always the left hand. So the left thumb and index finger, again, pull out the abdomen 1 centimeter, right? It's going to be right here, this little mark right there. Thumb, index finger above the mark. The calipers are going to go right on the hash mark. Pull out the abdomen. This is always going to be a vertical fold here, vertical fold here. Now, for the last site for the males, it's going to be a diagonal fold up here. And for the ladies, it's going to be a bit more of a diagonal fold here. But this is a vertical fold. Thumb, index finger above the hash mark. Open up the calipers very carefully and gently because these are a little bit like rough on the ends here, right? So that they can hold the skin. So if you don't open up the caliper entirely all the way, especially when you're taking it off the person by depressing this little lever here, then you could scrape the skin as the caliper comes off. You don't want to cause discomfort. So always open up all the way, caliper here, caliper there, pull the skin out 1 centimeter, put the calipers on, wait 1 second, and then take your value. That would be the second site. So you would go from the thigh to the abdomen, and then you would, I'll show you the last part. Anybody have any questions about those 2 sites? All right. So then the last site is going to be, let's erase this part here. The last site is up here. So I'll blow that up. And it's going to be, so this is your head. Your neck. Shoulder and elbow. Forearm, bicep. Pectoralis major. Rib. This is side of the body. There's rib, rib, rib. All right, so we're going to be talking about this portion here. Again, on the right side of the body, always on the right side of the body. Now, the reason you do the right side of the body is if you agree to do the right side and I agree to do the right side and Bill agrees to do the right side and California agrees to do the right side, then we're improving the objectivity because everybody is at least using the same side. Everybody's at least pulling 1 centimeter. Everybody's at least waiting 1 second. So because you're waiting one second, I'm waiting 1 second, you're doing all the same technique. We're all using the right hand. We're all using only the right side of the body. That's going to help us replicate what each other are doing. And then if I hire you to work at my facility, and I know that you're always doing the same thing as John, the same thing as Claudia, the same thing as everybody else, then I know at least my technicians are going to have results that are comparable because everybody's doing the same thing. So it's important to measure. It's important to know the technique and do the right and the same thing so that our data can be utilized and compared with each other, and so that you can repeat the same things over and over. So adhering to technique improves the reliability and objectivity of the assessment. Oh, you did? You found it? So the next site over here for the males is halfway. I'm going to try to blow this up a little bit here, maybe. Right, so shoulder, elbow, arm, big bicep, bicep, pectoralis, nipple, neck. All right, it's halfway between the inguinal crease. No, that's a lie. Actually, I might have to make an amendment about this here because I did make a mistake here. It's not your ASIS, but we'll get to that. So your axillary crease, is right here. This is your axillary crease. Your axilla is your armpit. So your axillary crease is, now this is the side of your body here. Your axillary crease is, and I'm also going to try to do this too. Orange is better. So this is your neck. This is your shoulder. This is your elbow. This is your lower arm and your bicep. This is your pectoralis major. This is the other side of your body. This is your chest here. Other pectoralis major. Stomach. A couple of ribs. So it's this site here is halfway between your axillary crease, which is this little crease here. If you put your arm by your side, the top of that crease and the nipple. So you take a measuring tape and you go halfway between this here and the nipple, right? That's where you put the measuring tape. And then you'd put your little hash mark here. So it's going to look like this. And you don't have to draw a line all the way from the axillary crease from here all the way to the nipple. You're just going to put your measuring tape, say for instance, from here to there. One second. I'm going to undo a couple things. take the measuring tape and put the measuring tape from here to there. Then you're going to put a little mark, a little teeny mark, halfway, like this. And then you're going to remove the measuring tape. So you're going to remove the measuring tape and then draw the rest of your line. So it's going to look like this. You don't have to draw the line the entire way, but that line here is going to be a diagonal fold. And same thing, thumb, index finger, right hand, right side of the body, pull the skin out 1 centimeter, put the calipers on carefully, wait 1 second, take your measurement. So that would be the last measurement. So you go from the thigh to the abdomen, and the last one is the chest. Thigh, abdomen, chest for the males. Anybody have any questions? Is this clear? Is this reasonable? This is not going to be easy. This is a very difficult, I guess, skill to acquire. How do you know whether or not you're pinching only skin or skin and fat or the whole bone or muscle? I don't know. There's no way for me to really explain it to you, honestly. You have to, I've done it thousands of times now. And you just have to really experience it and be part of it. And, you know, part of the whole lab experience is to be able to get people to do this for you anyway, because nobody wants to. Nobody wants to have their skin pinched. Nobody wants to lift up their shirt. Nobody wants this stuff. That's the reason I stopped doing it. But it's important for you to learn how to do this, because I think it's important. It's almost like you're learning bedside manner. You're learning how to work with somebody. You're learning how to do something for somebody when they don't want it to be done. So how are you going to do that and convince people that this is important and such? Does anybody have any questions about these sites? Because now what I'd like to do is switch over to the female side of these measurements. So this is the males. For the ladies, we're going to also use the thigh measurement. So that's the same. But we're not going to use the abdomen, nor are we going to use the chest. But we are going to use a portion of the body that's, I guess, somewhat related to that. So let me show you that. Let me erase this part here. Let me just try to erase abdomen. All right, the next site is going to be here. Let's try to draw it as an extension of this. So your body comes down here. There's a little bump there. And then your thigh is going to start here. So this is your thigh. This is your kneecap down here. This is we already went over the thigh site. That's going to be the same. But I actually made a small mistake. All right, let me just draw this bottom leg a little bit better here. So there's going to be a little bit, it comes down your hip, and there's a little bit of a bump there. Then your hip comes out and your leg is here. This is going to be a little bit better. The knee, and then here. And I'll draw the other leg just for clarity here. If you look, there's going to be and it's called the Inguinal Crease. So it's going to be right here. There's a crease right in your waist. And it's right where the inguinal crease starts. There's going to be another crease right here. And then your hip. And originally I said the site is from your ASIS, which is right about here, to your kneecap. It's not. It's from the midpoint of your inguinal crease. So it's the middle right here of your inguinal crease. And then the measurement is halfway between the middle of your inguinal crease and the middle of your patella. That's the actual like the real one. Originally, I said it's halfway from your ASIS, but it's not. It's the inguinal crease here. Now, for the ladies, the next site is above your iliac crest. So if you feel, I'll try to draw the bones underneath this. So you'll have your femur here. You have your greater trochanter and your femoral head. And then you'll have your ilium. Dude, just chill. I'm not the best artist. I'm trying so hard. So this is the bones, right? And then you're going to have your pubic bone here. So right up here is your iliac crest. You can feel it. It's the top of this bone here. You can feel it on the side of your body. All right. So the ladies, you're going to find the very crest of this bone. And then above that, you're going to take the skin, and it's like right above, I guess the easiest way to say it is right above the love handles. Right at the love handles, there, it's going to like fold very, very like naturally right there. So what I usually do is I'll pinch the skin and I'll take the marker, and then I'll draw this line above the crest of the pinched skin. So I just draw the line here. Then this again is going to be a diagonal site, and you follow the same rules. Thumb, index finger, pull 1 centimeter, wait 1 second with the calipers on so that they can creep a bit, and then make your assessment. So you would do your thigh, then you would do your iliac crest, and then the last one is the triceps. All right, so this is the iliac crest, the crest of the ilium. Find the bone, palpate the bone. Go 1 centimeter above, or find the natural fold in that love handle. Now, obviously, nobody wants to be doing this. So I find it's much better, especially in this day and age with teaching and hands off and stuff, just step on the scale. It's a little bit easier. The last site is the triceps for the ladies. So I'm going to erase what I have on this side and try to redraw a little bit here. So does anybody have any questions? All right, doing the best I can here. So let's erase this here, because we're going to have to draw the back. Erase all this stuff here. Maybe we can just fill out some of these words a little bit now that this is all gone. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this and this. Let's get rid of this. So the thigh, the iliac crest. Let's condense a little bit. The thigh, the iliac crest, and the tricep. So these are the 3 sites for the ladies. Let's erase this stuff here. All right, so let's try to figure out this here. Let's draw the back. So this is the head. This is the neck. This is the shoulder. This is the little bump on the end of the shoulder, the AC joint. This is the humerus. Oh, geez, this is terrible. All right, let's just try to make it happen anyway. This is the arm, and this is the back. Whew. Doesn't matter. This is good enough. So now you have your tricep is here. Again, they're looking this way. So this is their nose, right? You're looking at the back of their head here. So you're going to palpate the shoulder. And on the shoulder is a little bump. It's a little bump right here. It's called the AC joint. You're going to start the measuring tape at the AC joint, right on the top of the AC joint here. You can probably palpate it. It's right here. I don't know if you're looking at my screen, but it's right here. You can palpate that little bump. You're going to go right from the AC joint all the way to the elbow, the olecranon process of the elbow. You're going to take the measuring tape and put it there from the AC joint to the olecranon process. And then what you're going to do is go halfway between there. And when you go halfway between, you're going to put your mark here. I don't know, it's probably halfway between. So I'm going to put a horizontal line there. I'm going to undo both of those. What do we do? So halfway between horizontal line, and then put your vertical line there. So if I erase and get rid of the measuring tape, it's going to look like that. So you have your triceps is here. And the mark is here. And it's so the mark, the hash mark here is usually at the midpoint of the belly of the triceps. Again, this is going to be a vertical mark. And you follow the same rules. Thumb, index, finger of the left hand. Now, notice I'm looking at the back, right? Is your scapula vertebrae, right? Ribs. All right, so I'm looking at the back and I'm still using the anatomical right side of the subject to make sure that we're following through with the right side so everybody is doing the same thing. So, got to just make sure right side of everybody. Measure between the AC joint, acromioclavicular joint, and the olecranon, the little protuberance at the elbow. Halfway, vertical mark, horizontal mark, pull the skin out 1 centimeter, put the calipers on, wait 1 second, take your final measurement, and then go back to the thigh, back to the iliac crest, back to the triceps, get your 3 measurements for each, get rid of the highest one, add the average of each of the 3 together, get your value, plug it into the equations. And that's pretty much how you do the skin calipers.